I'm live, and we are live, apparently. So, that's cool. Hmm. Welcome. Although I think I'm by myself. It's all good. Oh, first live stream. Check that out. Hmm. Who knew? Sweet. Well, I need to warm up a little bit. Dum-da-dum. Oh, hey, what's up, DRD? Someone there. Rock on. What's up, man? What's up, brother? Holy shit. Brand new. This is going to be an interesting evening for sure. I almost canceled it because I didn't see any views on anything, and I was just like, all right, well, but I don't know how this works. This is very new. That's cool. What are you up to, man? All right, to turn some tunes on. I'm going to use you as a bit of a test. I'm not sure what you're listening on, but I'm using a webcam. I'm not sure about the audio, so let me know what this sounds like. Too much working, little flame. Yeah. Thankfully, I've been in a pretty good groove. I've been, I've been posting every day, but I've been playing at least an hour every day. Does it sound all right? Really? This is literally a Zoom call webcam from like the pandemic, like from 5 years ago. So if it sounds okay, that's badass. Really, the audio is good too. Sweet. Well, who knew a little potato wedge can would actually work? Sweet. That's cool. Right on. That's awesome. What do you play? Oh shit. Got a couple of people. Welcome, Andrew Stevens. Right on. Sweet. Glad to know this sounds pretty cool. That's awesome. At some point, I'll have one of those badass setups like Ola has, where it sounds just amazing every single video of his. So that's cool. Most Metal, Tool, right on. Yep, right on. Yeah, I like all kinds of music. I mean, I gravitate towards the easier stuff that I can sort of play, although I don't know a lot of songs. I just pretty much try to write my own stuff and come up with all that kind of stuff. But I won't even jump into the massive pool of people who can cover songs, which is just like it's a huge lake, and those guys are amazing that cover songs just meticulously. Takes so much time to learn those songs. But yeah, that's awesome. Right on. Thank you for being here. Holy shit! Like literally, I was telling DRD that I was gonna like not because there was no views on when I posted a couple like a day or two ago, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll just not have it. But sweet. Andy, you've been 70s, 80s. Nice. Yep, nice. That's awesome. What I do. I know everyone's like, "Hey, learn songs." Well, what I end up doing is like number one, I like to kind of, I'm stealing something that Paul and lead singer of Pantera in an interview one time said that he just steals all kinds of shit. That's how they got to be like, like all of his stuff, and then just integrated it into different, his own stuff. And I was like, well, that's interesting hearing that from someone who's so famous. And so whenever I go print out the sheet music and I start trying to learn someone else's song, I start like just morphing off into the ether and have ideas of my own song. And so I end up never really learning the cover song, but it ends up producing, lots and lots of pages of riffs and shit that I write down from my own music. So, but yeah, the 70s, 80s stuff, I mean, it's just awesome all the way around. It's interesting. Hold on, I just need to turn my TV off. My bad. There we go. Actually, that was providing some decent light. Getting all the lighting worked out for sure. We'll leave that on for now. That's cool. Just got the notification. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Just got a notification. That's cool. Sweet. Cool. And again, thanks guys for subbing. That's awesome. I need to get some more here. I'm actually going to turn my TV back on because it was providing some decent lighting. Well, yeah, that struggle's real. You know, first time we're working out the bugs for sure. Put something on that's got some light in the background. That's fine. That's better. Cool. Do any of you guys do the YouTube thing or anything like that? Just curious. I'm gonna jam a little bit while I'm no time. Yeah. I'm very fortunate that well, right now it's interesting time. You know, I'm in construction. That work ebbs and flows. This is definitely in an ebb versus or a flow actually right now. So, but it's that's the industry. You know, you work like hell for a couple of months and then it slows down. You work like hell for a couple of months and so forth. Only YouTube I've done is tech tutorials. Oh, nice. What kind of tech? Like computers, gaming. Oh shit, nice. Right on, right on. Yeah, I know enough about computers to get me in trouble. As a Gen Xer, Windows 98, Windows 95, basically, and then just stumbled my way through learning what I needed to for college and basic Office suite. But I got a couple of buddies that work for NVIDIA down there in old San Ho, and those guys just whenever I need help, I'm like, "Yo, Manuel, can you take over my computer?" Which is really kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how old you are, brother, but man, when I allow him access and all of a sudden he starts moving around in my computer, I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. But he always fixes my computer. It's always a good thing. So, but yeah, that's a little scary sometimes. Gen Xer too, right on, right on. So yeah, it's cool that you got into computers though. Cybersecurity. Oh shit. Okay. Yep. So you actually know what it's like. Both of you have probably taken over someone, not taken over like a bad way, but like probably taken over a computer to help someone out. Probably, I would assume. I don't know anything about that, but I just think it's fascinating that there's those capabilities all the time. Oh, yes. Well, don't take over mine. You ain't gonna find shit on my computer other than a bunch of fucking invoices and shit. But wow, that's crazy all the time. I mean, doesn't that are they just cool that these days? They're just like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is type thing. Especially family members, I bet. Yeah, for sure. Yep. My mom calls me every now and then. She's like, hey, I'm like, hey, mom, your computer's from 2002. I think it's probably time to get a new one. Yeah, most people just want their shit fixed. Exactly. That's what it comes down to for me. I'm just like, hey, I'm not sure what's going on. And he's like, hey, your new M1 or M2 hard drive just took a shit. And I'm like, well, that sucks. And he's like, you need to get a new computer or replace that and rebuild it. I'm just like, ugh. So I just got a laptop and said that was my most recent debacle during the pandemic was essentially having, I can build a computer because it's pretty much like putting almost anything together, but I can't program shit. But a friend of mine in college, we used to swap out, it's like, you're a computer science guy. I'm learning what I'm learning. Can we and he taught me how to make computers or build a basic computer. However, I built 6 computers, but had other people help me get them organized so I could use them. Didn't get to the full end where I could diagnose and stuff like that because it was just like clown shoes. It was just so much. So what kind of guitars do you guys play? Like when you do play, I mean, presume both of you play guitars. What do you guys play? Nice. Yep. All my guitars, with the exception of the old, you've seen, well, most of you have seen all the guitars. The old Predator. I own, people are like, oh, you played guitar before. Well, define what playing guitar is. I bought a guitar in 1996, learned 3 power chords, and then realized that's the extent of the time I wanted to dedicate to it. Met a girl and all that other kind of shit got involved, right? So this guitar here was my first. So I'm just exploring like what different guitars there are. I have an Ibanez RG, nice. Fender Strat EV, nice. That's awesome. And getting a Nick Johnson 10th anniversary next week. What Nick Johnston? Oh God. That's the other part of getting old. You don't remember or have never learned of who these people are. Is that a guitarist? Is that I presume that's a signature guitar for Nick Johnston? And who do you play with? Signature guitar, cool. What kind of music does he play? Or maybe I've heard of him, or the band he's in. Right on. Okay, he's still playing. Right on. That's awesome. 6 string, 7 string. I'm going to practice my playing without looking at the fretboard as much as I can. Although I don't have my glasses on, so everything's fucking blurry anyway. 6 string HSS Strat. Right on. I was down at Guitar Center. Most of you know, I don't know if you tagged on the last couple of videos or not, but I picked up a couple more pedals, right? And man, my goal was to find a guitar amp, Vox, and Spark. Maybe soon a Boss Katana. I will say this, which Katana? Are you talking about like a combo or just the amp itself? Because the amp itself, the 100 watt that I have, which is fucking up in storage right now. Speaking of EDH, I have an 80s vintage Kramer. Oh shit, I've heard, I would have to see it. Amp itself, right on. Yep, right on. It's a cool amp, no doubt about it. And again, I'm such a noob to this stuff. It's kind of almost embarrassing sometimes because I never went hard down the guitar rabbit hole. I was in the tenor sax, jazz world and piano world for most of my life. I played tenor sax for 10 years and piano for like 13. So, my experience and exposure to guitar, all the people are like, hey, he's from that band. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, shit, really? Oh, they're like, well, like, how do you not know him? He's one of your favorite band members, So nice. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. I started on tenor sax when I was 8 or 9. I think it was right before I got into like 5th grade, 4th grade. I don't know. It's been a minute. And that took me all the way through. I started playing piano when I was 5. I was super tiny. Next door neighbor gave me an old piano, or my parents, they gave me a piano. And then I heard what was it? Kenny G, I think it was. Some random, I was at some babysitter's house, honestly, and heard this, and I was like, Mom, I want to play that. And she was like, okay, guess we got to get you that, So thankfully she was able to get that, and then did that from like 9 all the way through high school. Thankfully landed me a scholarship, which is kind of cool, for my first year of college. Pink Panther theme made me want to play stuff. That too, 100%. Exactly. 1000%. Yeah, no, tenor sax, let's be real. Tenor sax is like, because I play the alto, because once you get into saxophone, you pretty much, your band teacher is going to be like, hey, can you, hey, so-and-so's sick today, can you play alto? Sure. And then I played baritone. So I played pep band for all sports. And I played sports back in high school. However, I used to piss all my coaches off because I love music, admittedly, way more than I like sports. I was like a mediocre athlete. I was like, just like a good NPC, stick me in there to do something and I'm okay. I wasn't like super stellar, but I was really good at music. So I gravitated towards music And that was my passion because I was like, well, I kind of, I don't suck at sports, but I'm not super good like all the captains, all the fucking people that are like the rock stars who were like the guys who are super athletic, right? My talent was music, 100%. And so when the coach is like, hey, we have halftime, I'm like, I have to play the Barry sax for the halftime show for Pep Band. And they used to piss all my coaches off. Because like, you're not going to get any be a better athlete. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking be a better athlete. I'm better at this. So, but the baritone, where I was going with that is like the baritone and the alto, but the tenor, man, that's the sexiest one in my opinion. Let's be real. And it sounds the coolest. I mean, I will never take anything away from any other musician, ever, ever, ever. However, there's a reason that tenor sax, man, it's just fucking awesome, And I will pull it out at some point, maybe even do it on some stream. I've been fiddling around with it in the background a little bit. It's surprising how this is foreign, and it's coming along. I mean, I know I'm super amateur and shit, but it's been now 4 months in, so I got to give myself a little bit of break on that. But it's amazing how and I haven't picked my sax up since '97. Tenor sax, the supermodel. Fuck yeah, 100. I'm stealing that, by the way. That's actually I'm stealing that. The supermodel of the woodwind for sure, for sure. And then for 3 years, just to add on top of that, I played flute, like regular flute. The only reason I got to play flute, there's a chick that I liked in band, and I was like, and she was a flute player, and I was like, well, if I add piano, sax, how cool if I played flute? So yeah, never ended up. She didn't want to go off me, just to the fact that I was too much of a dork back then. But yeah, it's just fucking awesome. So that's awesome. And it's and I did the whole like marching band. I don't know if you guys. I'm not sure where you guys are from, but the marching band, like marching band you see on TV where they got the fucking weird ass hats, the uniform, and all that shit. Did that for 6 years, junior high and high school. Our actual high school, Class B school back in the Midwest, actually went down to Texas to a marching band competition. And then while we were down there, because I was moving up in the, I guess you'd say like the musical talent world. So my band instructor was like, he entered me in some individual recital solo competitions because I do a lot of improv. I mean, obviously I don't learn stuff the traditional way, and so I play by ear tremendously, and so I play and then a lot of jazz is improv. Oh man, it's a big man of my shit. Oh, a little Ted, go support the El Estiberio. I don't know, the fucking drummer who's really awesome on Instagram. Bought some of his gear, so but yeah, and the whole the sax playing and competition stuff, I got entered in, like there was a lot of stuff that I got plugged into because I would play by ear. Nebraska, Midwest Nebraska. Where are you guys from originally, or like where are you at now? Be curious as to where people are like tuning in from. Oh, right on. Shit. Yeah, old college. I haven't talked to him in, dear God, years, but he went down to Florida. From Ohio, right on. Moved away for decades and now back, right on. Yep. Yeah, that's close by. Yeah, my mom, grandma back home. They're still back in Nebraska. So, but yeah, it's a crazy, looking back at all those times of the trajectory of where, like what we were doing when we were younger versus where we're at now. Crazy. Land of good marching bands. Yeah, it fucking totally is. It totally is. And that's a whole nother world in of itself. And a lot of people, unless you like experience that's what got me in the military. Honestly, I think it's like being in uniform, right? And so there's something about that uniform stuff that it was just, for whatever reason, I think certain people, for whatever reason, gravitate towards the uniform type of stuff. And it was fun, hot as balls. I hated wearing it, but there was something cool about watching the performances back when and then the practices, the camaraderie. I mean, there's just a lot of, it's like being in one massive, it is a band, but it's a massive band, right? And so that's where I got my desire to be in another, like a rock band. But again, I hadn't picked up, I can tell you my brief story of how I got into playing guitar for a hot minute. But yeah, no, the marching band stuff, it's so much fun. And I mean, you know, there's a level of there's a level of commitment. I think it teaches young people a lot about just having structure, and it can be so important because those are some of the times I think I look back and I'm like, how did I get to where I can do certain things and be so structured and like, you know, regimented? A good part of it was just the fact that we had to, you know, we had fucking practices all the time. We had to be on the band field. We had to have certain things. And there was just such, you know, you kind of forget how, or not necessarily forget, but you don't necessarily know how impactful those times are now. Yeah, discipline, totally. And an ability to, you know, kind of like just push yourself through shit that you're not comfortable doing. You know, you're sweating balls. Our competition, now, if you're in the Midwest, you know the weather is not like it is in California. I'm super blessed. This California weather, I mean, I doubt I'll ever leave California, honestly, unless mom needs me to move back home. But I'm trying to get her to move out here. I was like, hey, fuck that hot, humid Nebraska weather shit, mom. You can move out here with me when you get old enough and get off the farm, and I'll just take care of you out here. But in the middle of the hot fucking summer, we went down to Texas in June, like, I don't know, mid-June Texas. And if you've been in Texas mid-June, it's hot as balls, it's humid as fuck. And there is like, and then you're in this complete furry topped fucking cap with your horn and your suit. It's as hot as balls. And so, but then you get through that, and then it makes you, I don't know, I think it builds grit is what another, like an old coach said, you need to build grit to be good at life, you know, and I totally agree with that. You know, it's builds discipline, 100%, 100%. Did you guys ever play around with the old marching band or anything like that? I work with people from Texas. They can play from May to September. One of my good friends, well, I was down in Texas here recently. I got a couple of little short videos when I was in front of that Cadillac, that awesome black Cadillac, 68 or 69. I was sweat. That was the two hottest fucking videos I've ever done. I was drenched. A good thing you couldn't see, but I was soaking wet after just standing in. Now I was standing in about I don't know, it's probably a 7,000 or 8,000 square foot shop all the way over in the corner. It does have AC in there, but the AC I would turn on 5 minutes before I went in there. And so it would go from like 85 fucking degrees down to like 81. I mean, I swear there was a cloud in the top of that great big building. Nice building. It's super nice. Got some other really cool shit in there for sure. My friend has done very well for himself. I love him to death. He has, you know, millions of fucking dollars, and he's awesome. So he has all the toys and all that kind of stuff. He can build that kind of shit. But if I would have left that on for about a half an hour, it would have cooled the building down. But the reality of it is that, my God, it was so hot down there. Yeah, and that was, I was the back of this. Well, I didn't have this guitar. I had my Schecter. That guitar was soaking wet by the time I got done. Here in Florida, we have like a 7-day heat advisory. Is that year round, or is that currently right now? Now, oh yeah, I suppose. But if you're, so do you get triple digit? Because if you get triple, oh yeah, fuck. I did my boot camp in Fort Benning, Georgia, from May to September, and that was 100-degree triple digit and just humidity that is, I don't think you can get more than 100% humidity, but awful. Like we had some, that was a tough boot camp. I'm not one with you on boot camp, but I've heard of others and other folks who were friends of mine that did other boot camps around the country. And they're like, we went to Fort Benning. When? And I was like, yeah, May through September. Like, oh, the fucking worst time. Probably no AC. Yeah, no AC. Yeah, no, no AC. Well, I mean, in Texas or Because in Texas, there was AC. I just didn't turn it on long enough. Should have. But you need AC 100% if you're in Texas. Here in California, mine's currently disconnected because I'm doing a monstrous remodel of my entire house post-divorce for boot camp. Oh, so sort of. When it worked. That's the other part they don't tell about a lot of shit. And not that it's a big deal, but that builds grit too. Sort of. There's sort of AC. Most of the time we had all the fucking windows open, and it was just like, you know what? Hold on. This keeps doing. I need to get something on here that's gonna keep playing. That's hold on. Apologies. My TV's on. I didn't realize how it's getting super dark, and I don't have an extra light, so I'm going to turn a movie on or something that can provide some background lighting for what we're doing. There we go. That's fine. All right, cool. Any of you guys do the boot camp thing or the whole military thing? Just curious. I mean, mine was National Guard. I won't even pretend that I went and served. I was National Guard. But a couple of my friends we got called up for some local disaster stuff. Not me, my son, right on. Yep, right on. My entire family was military, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. Half of them didn't work. They did not make it back. But there was this like obligation in my family to do some type of military. And, it was one of those things where I was poor. I'd raised poor as fuck. So I wanted to go to college and saw a commercial. It's like, oh, all right, I can do that. And they'll pay for some of the college. However, I went to the military in the worst time for benefits, bar none. There was, again, different administrations, not going to get into politics, but there was a down swoop in military funding, big defunding going on during this period in the mid 90s. And so unfortunately, when I got in, there wasn't a lot of benefits. And so, which is fine, but I still got some. I'm more of a half full versus half empty type guy. So I was very thankful for what I did get. But I had some buddies who stayed in, and because there's like four of us, we're like, hey, we're gonna go to college. And we're like, you know what? If we go to the National Guard, we can get some, they can pay for some shit. It's cool. We come back, we still have our girlfriends, kind of a win-win, and all of that. So it was cool, but the regular, like all the boot camp, all the training's the same as active military, but then you go back to your home state, and it's a lot different. I stayed in contact with a lot of my friends who went and switched over to active when I went on to further college and they went to active duty. And unfortunately, one of them didn't make it back. He's a really good friend of mine. But and that's part of the game. Sometimes that happens, but it's one of those things where, again, adds to the discipline. It just creates a different level of mindset for, the struggles when we get older, as us Gen Xers do, is we're navigating life and whatnot. Well, I realize I'm losing sunlight and a lot of light. Hopefully this is okay. I can definitely go flip on a light behind me if I need to. Didn't realize I'll have a box light or get an extra light here for next time. But right on. What's your plan for the live streaming? Good question. I was going to use, my first one is kind of like a chat, whatever, and then just practice, basically. It is kind of dark. You know what? If you're willing to let me, I will flip on a backlight behind me. Give me 2 seconds. I don't know if that's any better. Yeah, a little bit better. You get to see all the fucking construction going on in the background. Plan for live stream. My first one kind of had no plans. Kind of like, well, I have some new pedals. Going to fuck around with that a little bit. Practice mainly, because that's my main thing. Is whenever I sit down and put the video on or the camera on, I just practice. And I just jam around, and if it sounds cool, I keep jamming around. I'm not going to pause and write stuff down like I normally do, but that's pretty much what I do. Is I find, because I'm learning the fretboard, I've kind of navigated. I don't have it all memorized entirely, but I got most where I'm at on most of the time. I'm drop D right now, so to shift things down a bit. But I just jam around. I find a cool riff or lick that I'm doing, and then I come over here. I have my own like notation that I do with my 7-string and my 6-string guitars, and I pretty much just notate out my riffs, and I try to put them together on other times when I'm practicing, see if they're a song. Again, sometimes I practice a little bit of like other cover songs, but then it ends up getting into something different. So, but that's my my plan for live streaming right now is just this first one. Thanks for showing up. It's awesome. But mainly just jamming around. If I get a new pedal, if I get a new guitar, which probably won't happen anytime soon because I got plenty of shit to play with already. But yeah, mainly just jamming around, because a lot of the stuff on the videos that I do, there's so much more riffs and licks that I have come up with off camera that I post, that or my process. I mean, again, amateur. This is like I'm a high schooler from that's in his bedroom type thing. It's not nothing like the dudes on TV who are on YouTube doing it now. So, but that's kind of my kind of my plan. Just jam around, and if it sounds cool, keep going. I do have some pedals I want to fuck around with tonight. I have the 2 new ones, the super badass distortion, which is new. I have not played around with that hardly at all outside the one video. The Metal Zone is brand new. I mean, it just doesn't crack and pop, which is cool. And then the Fat Sugar, there's not a lot of playing around with the pedals that I've done. I thought it'd be kind of cool to do it on stream. Do you guys use pedals? What's your setup? Or are you guys doing the digital stuff that seems to be the new trend for everything? I'm just gonna jam around with it. I'm not really warmed up, to be honest. Or how I warm up, I guess. I used to do the whole that. I don't do that anymore. On the digital trend, yeah, I can see why it's so. Was like $2,000 for that one neural. Was it no quad cortex? I looked up 2 of the things that some of my favorite YouTubers use. 2 little boxes, like $5,000 worth of equipment. I was like, oof. That's. I'm not discounting its usefulness, but damn, that's expensive for 2 boxes. And again, it looks super useful, but kind of like playing around. I have a Valtron 200, also box pedals. Right on. What's the is the GP200 a type of digital box as well? Is that a digital thing? I'm just jamming. I need to warm the fingers up. Gotcha. Do those multi effects have an array of distortions, as if like 5 or 6 different styles of pedals? Because if I go, for example, let's fuck around with this MXR. Although I need to, let's see. Let's just go noon on everything right now and see what happens. See what this sounds like. I always scoop mids, crank the bass, crank the treble. That's my favorite sound. It's almost exclusive on everything. That's kind of meaty. That's kind of cool. Super fucking bassy. Right on. cool MXR. This is just, oh, so I'm not sure if, no, it was actually RG78 who made this recommendation, which I'll pull the Jackson out here in a bit. I didn't know you could take your pedals, run them in. Is the only ones of yours that I'm familiar with. There are too many drive pedals. Yeah, there are. Yeah, for sure. I tested or played around with probably 5 or 6 down at Guitar Center a couple days ago. And I knew the Metal Zone was going to sound cool because I already had that. I just wanted a new version of that. So it was, it didn't crackle and fucking do all that kind of shit. But the other ones down there, the Boss DS1, there was a bunch of other ones. I just kept playing around. I mean, I was down there for, you can spend your life down there if you want. But playing around and, I found an active pickup guitar because I knew that I was really going after more of my Miss Jackson sound. These are all passive, and that does sound different. I have to adjust these between, which is totally fine. It's kind of fun. But the Super Badass Distortion seemed to sound the best when I could, or at least I could adjust it to where what I thought sounded cool to me and for what I wanted to play was cool. And this thing's pretty, again, this is probably the second time I played with this. I've been on the Metal Zone hardcore because I was so excited how the Miss Jackson sounded so awesome with that and so different. And so I'm running all of my pedals here, the compressor, which I don't have on right now, the MXR Fat Sugar, the Metal Zone, which the only one that was on previously was the Metal Zone, but I'm running them into the effects loop, not the top of the guitar. Actually, check this out. Maybe you're familiar with this, but check this out. If I turn, I did turn the volume of my guitar off. So if you completely run your effects pedals into an effects loop, I can't wait to get my Dark Terror out because it'd be interesting to see what this sounds like through a tube amp. However, check this out. So right now, all the pedals are off, plugged into my regular thing, but this is going into the back of the amp. It's pretty fucking loud. The only volume control I have is on the guitar. Check this out. Not one thing up top. All these knobs do not work whatsoever when you run a pedal. Any pedal. I've tried this on every single pedal and it disconnects the top part of this Orange Crust 35. Not sure why, but I got to thinking about it. I presume all of these knobs are their own preamp, or it's a preamp circuit, I presume. Now, what does still work is the reverb. Actually, no, the reverb doesn't work either, but the reverb does work with the pedal, actually. But if you turn the pedal on, now I can control. I have all the controls at the top of the amp normally have, but they're on the pedal. Fun fact. This has plenty of reverb if I wanted to. I don't know if the camera picks that up, but it's definitely noticeable. I usually keep the reverb completely off or very low when I'm doing anything that has distortion. I found that it gets super muddy and it doesn't sound very good. So, but let's see what I'm not sure how you guys adjust your pedals or adjust your settings and whatnot, but there's a break. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sure there's some physics to it. There's always a midpoint on every knob, specifically your mid or your high, that has, I think it matches the guitar's tone or something. And I just keep fiddling with it until it goes. And then less distortion, more distortion. And right there, that's like the optimal distortion for this like setting on the guitar. How long have you guys been playing? Just curious. I forgot to ask early on. Probably a long time. If I was to guess. A few cats that have been in the comments from time to time, they're like, 20 some years of playing, or they're on for a little while. Oh shit, Dooley, what's up, man? Right on. Welcome, man. That's fucking awesome. Right on. I'm in the same boat as you, just getting back in. How long did you take off, Andrew? On and off 30 years. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. It's we're turning the middle zone back on just because middle zone sounds awesome. 30 years. What got you into guitar? Like, what was your inspiration to get into guitar? Fuck yeah, that's awesome. See, you were playing guitar. I was fucking playing piano and sax. See if I can jam. This will be good. It'll force me to not look at my fretboard, which, ignore the. Ugh. Hey, how many of you can actually play without just being glued to the fretboard? And how did you get it? Like, was there a trick to overcoming it, or is it just fucking practice? I suspect it's probably just practice. One of the brothers started taking classes. There you go. Right on. Right on. I need to play a little bit. See if I can watch the comments while we're fucking around. I've been really trying to work this one part. You probably heard on several videos. It's part of a song I'm trying to put lyrics to, but I can't figure out yet. Again, stealing stuff from, different pieces of different riffs of different people, but I'm really finding that I'm, again, 4 months in, but the string skipping and, the original intro, you mean the original one? Let me switch guitars for that. I haven't played that in a minute. Yeah, that's a... I ended up, once I learned more notes on the fretboard or where stuff was, I found that, of course, you guys are familiar with this, but I was jumping around more than I needed to because I only thought that those notes were down here and I could actually play them up here, which is a lot closer. And so, you can shorten up all your runs, makes things a little easier. So I'm trying to avoid putting my glasses on because the fretboard's an absolute blur right now, but it forces me to play without being so glued to the damn fretboard. Oh, yeah, hold on. Shit. Fuck, where's that at? Oh, there it is. So I'd like to be able to find something a little closer because that is a long stretch. There's no doubt about it. Or just slow it down, I guess. Damn, there's a harmonic there that I was been fucking with, but I can never get it consistently. Those are hard. The elusive pick hard. Yeah. Fuck yeah. It's, man, when I hit it, I'm like, woo! And then I spend like the next, 10 minutes trying to hit the same thing again. I'm just like, all right, fine, whatever. It's like a fucking unicorn. Every now and then. And I was attempting to learn Master of Puppets, but that turned into a lot of the other stuff that I was jamming on in drop D. Oh shit, I've been learning harmonics too. I want to dig that pick in deep and rub your thumb across the string. Yeah. Oh, man. I can, like I said, I'm using, well, I've come up with my own little pick. I will have picks forever because I have found that I took some 600 grit sandpaper from the shop and I kind of created my own. It's kind of an odd shaped pick where I don't know, it has a little bit of a flat tip, but then instead of being like a blade, for whatever reason, it ends up wearing down, but I grind them flat on some 600 grit in the shop. I mean, I have it actually over there. And I found that it allowed me accidentally to do this and I've been trying to hone it to do it consistently. If I get playing real fast, it kind of happens naturally, but I can't replicate it all the time. It's a double. It's a really fast, like a 1, 2, 3. It sounds super cool. And maybe it's not the pick. Maybe it's just me just fucking around. But yeah, they're elusive, those fuckers. See that? It's that little bit, but it's hard to replicate consistently. But it sounds cool as shit, I think. I also think what I found that this guitar has got a ridiculously low. I set the action of this. It's just borderline buzzing for the most part. And I think that has something, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, has something to do with getting a harmonic, because I can, 25% of the time I go on here, 10% of the time, and Miss Jackson is just, it's like a unicorn that decides to show up whenever it wants to. And that's also way different when I transfer all this shit over to the 7-string. That little bit of distance that you lose between strings when you got big old hands, and again, I'm making an excuse, but that does participate, in my opinion, in that. But I was sort of working on the Master of Puppets. And then the next part of that is let's see. And it's like something like that. But those are, yeah, those are tough. Just gonna jam around a bit. This is, kind of my practice for Sunday. So, throw a comment out. I'll make sure that I look over from time to time. But I haven't played the Predator for a while, so I might kind of just fuck around and see what's up there. Although I need to dial up a little bit of distortion. treble. Yes, it is. Absolutely. And I butcher it, but it's all right. At least it allowed me to spawn something into my own song. Oh, let's just jam everybody. And again, I got to find some stuff because sometimes I'm like, oh, that'll work. Oh, well, not fun fact, you probably know this, but there is something that I picked up from another guitarist. These 4 notes right here, for whatever reason, sound really cool on most riffs that you integrate them into, especially if you're going fast. Oh, I have a question for you guys. Any of you guys who have, I found that I had to lower my middle pickup all the way down because now getting into guitar, I had this at normal height from a setup, and I was always running into it. So I never used the middle pickup anymore, which is one of the reasons I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I'm probably just going to get rid of it and just do kind of a double humbucker top and bottom, because I run into that so often. It's just so fucking annoying. I'm just like, so I'll never have a Strat. Or if I do, it's going to have this area here will not have a damn thing in it. Most people do because of that. Okay, so I'm not fucking weird. All right, cool. Because, you know, it's like the Strat is the tried and true, tested, amazing guitar of all time. However, once I actually started playing this thing, I'm like, man, I'm always fucking hitting it. And I mean, to a point where, I mean, I butchered my nail one day, and that was fucking brutal. I was just hammering on it, and I was like, ow, fuck. And it totally like snagged the nail. And I was like, all right, we're dropping this all the way down to a probably useless position. So, but you know, for a Frankenstein guitar, it is what it is. Do you ever actually hit the volume knob on the Strat? Yes. And it doesn't really affect, but not in, it doesn't, I mean, I hit it, but it doesn't, you know, I stop and I'm like, make sure that it doesn't go down. But yeah, I mean, my ideal guitar for like a Strat kind of guitar would be, I mean, well, the fucking Telly's fucking awesome. But move this elsewhere. Actually, the tone, I don't know, is this like, what's your thoughts on tone? I keep mine cranked. I hardly see any difference on any of them. I've seen more Duncan Parallax in my middle position. It doesn't have the pole sticking up. Okay, I have to look into that. But I don't know. I think tone knobs, I'm not really sure. I never ever fuck with them. All knobs to 11. Thank you. All right, cool. That's what I usually do. What's up? It's been Fred through. Oh shit! Right up, dude. I was talking about you a little earlier about how we're sticking pedals into the old back of the amp, which completely changes everything. Oh well. Since how you're here, RG Guitar 78. Did you know that when you plug your pedals into your effects loop, it disengages all of your top knobs completely, which kind of makes sense, but that was new to me. Hey, fun times. Yeah, this is gonna swap out for different. This is a Seymour Duncan up top. These are 2 Stu Mac. It's a company that I just stumbled across, like, I don't know, a couple months ago. They have a bunch of guitar parts. They had some very affordable pickups. And so, I mean, like these 2 pickups, I think were the same price as the Seymour Duncan that I got at Guitar Center. I think it was Guitar Center. Maybe off of Amazon or Sweetwater. But these 2 here, so this guitar originally had the original 2 pickups, like 1995 PV Predator factory, and then I swapped out and put a DiMarzio double rail. Went to college in Athens, Ohio. Oh, right on. Right on. I put a DiMarzio in here, never used the top 2 pickups, and that DiMarzio sounded fucking awesome. However, again, this was in a room that had guitars, two guitars hanging on the wall. I was unaware that this was getting light on it, like certain parts of the day. So I suspect there was a lot of stuff. This guitar, when I plugged it in after those 22 years, all the pots crackled and everything was like all wonky. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna tear it apart again, no worries. And I wanted to do it kind of on a budget or pseudo budget, and that's what I prompted me to find Stu Mac and get those stuff. However, to be honest, that DiMarzio by itself sounds better than this here Stu Mac pickup. Just my own opinion. So that's why I'm going to swap this out eventually again. Probably delete these two knobs or figure out a way to do so because they're completely irrelevant. All of the knobs don't work that way, really. I would have thought you still get master volume. Preamp controls are pretty much everything like EQ gain. Yeah. Here, check it out, man. It's pretty crazy. Here, watch this. So I have pedals running just into the effects loop, and make sure that's not too crazy. This is what the amp sounds like when I plug in. It's like one sound. Like the only thing that adjusts the volume is on the guitar. Nothing up top. I can spin all these knobs all day long and it doesn't do anything. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, active pickups on, although I guess you just got to hollow it out, just router it out, I guess. Probably the best thing to do. But yeah, the pickup situation on this, it sounds okay, but I could definitely, I've seen those double humbucker. Basically what it is, it's a strap that looks like this for the most part, which I kind of, that's attractive to me. These things here, this is a factory guitar completely. I love the way it sounds. It's pretty crazy how, again, you learn different things, different pickups and whatnot. But yeah, this is, and this all works, but it sounds so different every position. Bottom position. This is supposed to be these two. I never use that position whatsoever. Middle, so supposedly all three, I think. Doesn't sound bad, but then fourth position, I guess. A little better. I think there's something to do with me having this buried in the goddamn guitar. And I actually like the top. This is a Seymour Duncan, and I have it set, I don't know, it's like maybe 2.5 millimeters away. I use this through the compressor or through the clean channel with a little bit of delay and reverb, and you get a pick guard fairly cheap. How you do construction? Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have modified the shit out of many things before. So, and I'm a pretty good solder. I mean, I weld and do all that kind of stuff too, but I can solder and very capable with that stuff. But actually, the thing that I play the most on this guitar is clean, delay, or I call it echo, delay and reverb sounds the best on this thing. Which that's not even hooked up tonight because that would require redoing this and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how I'm going to go through every one of these pedals in the future and see how they sound through the top and how I can replicate this, because I really wouldn't mind having the controls at the top of the amp back. It'd be kind of nice. Or maybe it's just something that's, this wasn't in the owner's manual to just run it in and not have anything looping, apparently. I don't know. I don't know the exact schematic of how these things are wired up. So, but something changed, but it doesn't, it's not very noisy at all. Doesn't hum, there's not a lot of hum, which is nice. I mean, it's got good distortion. I mean, if I get it close, it does. Sort of. But surprisingly, there's not as much noise as I thought there would be. So I've got a couple new folks here. So what kind of guitars do you guys have? RG Guitar 78, Frosty Storm. Just curious. And I'll kind of fuck around and try not to torture your eardrums too much. You know what? We're gonna pull out Miss Jackson just because we can. She needs a little more. That should work. Lots. Man, it is amazing how this, again, props to RG78, man. That this is, it's never sounded like this. This sounds awesome. I'm kind of playing around with the whole like death metal, not dark. I don't know. I guess it's kind of my version of stuff. Few-man, Gibson, Fender, PRS. Holy shit. Yep, nice. That's awesome. Dooley, how long have you been playing, man? Previously, I was just kind of asking folks how long they've been playing and like what got them into it. Just kind of curious. I get my fingers loosened up a little bit for the old string tuning. Does anyone have a 7-string? Just curious. Turn it off. Right on. That extra string, squish them together, man. Nice. Is the C7 that 7-string, presumably? Yes. Well, possibly up and down. I'm using a fucking old webcam from the pandemic before when I was doing Zoom calls and we couldn't leave our houses. So I'm not surprised. Audio up and down. I wonder why. Well, if it gets too bad, I'll figure it out for the next stream. I don't want to kill too many people's ears. However, I do have a window open and the wind just picked up. So maybe it's the fucking camera trying to do some level. You know what? Here, hold on. Fuck. Give it a pause, folks. Let me go see if I can shut a window. It wasn't doing it. Hey, well, was it doing it earlier? Just curious. Because if it was, then then it's gonna be the fucking same. Then it's probably just the camera, either flipping out. Not while you're talking. So weird. Fuck. I have no idea why it's doing that. To be honest. Goes down. Do you have any auto volume or setting? Maybe. Give me a sec. Yeah, I have to work out those bugs. It's fucking crazy. When the mic hears the guitar, it compensates, making your voice much quieter for the first few seconds. Yeah, I suspect that I'm going to have to figure out a way to hook my Scarlett with a condenser mic. Your playing is louder, so I think it's equalizing. Probably. This is a Logitech fucking cam, like a regular old, office cam. So apologies on the first one. Again, working out the kinks. I will try. Well, I'll have. Again, I got to see how this stuff works. Just not familiar. The mic, I have a good mic. It's just a condenser mic for singing, and I plug it into the Scarlett, which plugs into my computer. Maybe that will be better to use, and I can somehow run the camera. Because the camera seems, I think the video's okay. It's just the fucking audio probably. It's probably a compensator of sorts. You tech guys will probably know that way more than I do. So yeah. Maybe it'll try tuning your amp. Turn it down about 15%. Soon JWills unplugged. soon unplug. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, the acoustic guitar is up in storage. Oh, yeah. It's up in storage along with everything else. That's, when you're remodeling a house, if you're going through that process, you got to fucking move stuff around, and it's just an absolute debacle. But yeah, I mean, I can always pull it out. It's not the end of the world. But there's a lot of stuff on acoustic. I don't know. It's cool, but I want to be better. I want to be awesome overnight. And the acoustic keeps you really, really honest. I'm not gonna lie. And it's not discouraging, but at the same time, I'm like, man, it's so easy to fall into playing with pedals and effects because it sounds cool. And yeah, so I'm guilty of using effects to make me sound a little better than I probably am unplugged, for sure. I won't even try to pretend about that. Is this any better though? Because I can always turn down a little bit more. That's a good growl on this end, although it's pretty quiet. Well, my apologies, fellas. It will improve over the course of my time on YouTube, for sure. It's a work in progress, for sure. And just other equipment I'm finding. I may need to. I do have a friend that sort of he's not in the sound engineering business, but he has set up home studios. I've heard of crackling on my end. Wow. Well, shit, how long we went? About an hour? We might fuck around a little bit, and then I will not torture your eardrums any further for the evening. But maybe was it doing it earlier? Because this guitar does have a little more. I think the active pickups push it a little bit harder. Acoustic also is natural reverb. Don't forget, you will learn a lot. Hand control playing a sort of guitar because you have to keep the thing from squealing and whatnot. Good point. Good point. Yeah, I have, you just explore around and no crackling here. Well, that's good. It's good to know. Yeah, it's it's one of those, bucket list things and fun things to do. I would say it's not like a recital. I used to do lots of recitals and whatnot, but I was like, and I was nervous as fuck before I hopped on. I was like, man, should I even cancel this? Because no one was there, and then someone was there. So thank you all again for following along and hanging out and shit. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, this little journey of mine as I learn this, my style for sure. I'm definitely taking a non-traditional approach to learning guitar. There's no doubt about it. Although I took a very non-traditional approach to learning tenor sax and piano. Learned the basics, and then I play by ear a ton, and that got me a good ways. And then of course you have to read music. I can't read music anymore. I totally forgot. That's something I want to learn again because that's useful for a piano. I would like to get back into playing some piano again, which would be cool. But right now, it's just like I have always wanted to make cool sounds on a guitar. And the more that I just jam and practice, every now I can get a random squeal from time to time. So there's improvements that are coming along, but very non-traditional, which is so many people have hit me up and emailed me about lessons and stuff like that. And the reality of it is that there's nothing wrong with lessons at all. However, I wouldn't stick to a paid lesson coaching system at this point in my life. If I was 14, 15, 20, sure. Now I just want to fuck around until it sounds cool and then record shit, edit stuff. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I told people I was going to be editing. Fun fact for all of you, if you do any editing whatsoever, I got my one video edited in CapCut and then watched a YouTube video warning about CapCut and how if you are wanting to publish your music or publish anything, that they own the rights to that. And so I was like, oh, fuck that, because it was free, obviously. And so I bought a standalone, and I'm learning that called DaVinci Resolve. So, and I just defaulted back to just throwing the camera up and just fucking jamming around. So Justin Guitar, his lessons are free. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Good to know. Good to know. I've learned a ton from YouTube, no doubt about it. I have paused and watched people like, okay, where are you at? How are you doing that? A lot of it's just learning how, like, where they're making these transitions and all these different things, because there's a very traditional way of going about it. I use Studio One to record guitar. It's not free, but also not Mac specific. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I have a regular, HP laptop, and I put the DaVinci Resolve. I have my DAW. Just learned what that was here a few months ago. Is the Ableton Live, which has a lot of stuff in it. It's pretty useful. Again, there's so much menu diving. There's so much time to spend in that. And again, if I was in my 20s or younger, be a different story. But you can spend 4 hours menu diving, and I'm like, I can spend 4 hours practicing. So there's that. Studio One is good. I got it with a Spark amp. Is the Spark amp a portable amp? Is that what you're referring to? I'm not familiar with the Spark series. Put a little compressor on, get rid of the. Yeah, rabbit holes for sure. There's, the thing about it is, from when I learned any kind of music back in the 80s and 90s and what processing and editing and all that kind of stuff, and then got out of it, got back into it, and what people are doing and how familiar they are if they've grown up with computers or grown up with these programs. It took me 4 hours to try to edit a 30-minute video. And I'm just like, there's either I'm super slow or it's just there's so many features and functions to these programs, which are awesome, that it's just I think people, that's like a degree in of itself, to be honest. I have the 40 watt and the Steve Vai mini signature model that's portable, but the 40 isn't. So do those run on batteries, like a lithium battery or something? Because my other bucket list thing is to do some busking in San Francisco with my saxophone or guitar someday. That'd be kind of fun. Not for money or anything, but the first time I went to San Francisco back in 2001, came out of the subway or the BART station and heard a tenor sax playing, echoing through the entire hallway. I was like, I'm going to do that before I die someday. Busking. Have any of you guys ever did busking or played like in and out, like on a corner or anything like that? I think that'd be kind of cool. Although I'm kind of fucking old for doing that right now. The Mini has oh, nice, right on. Yeah, super sweet. That's cool. Yeah, I'm still curious as to how people do these massive live setups on corners with a ton of gear. Phone app, lots of, oh, very cool, very cool. There's got to be some, here's the thing though, how do these folks are recording out with nothing, it seems, on YouTube with nothing around them, and they're just fucking jamming, and it sounds amazing on their videos. But I tried to play my acoustic outside, and like, how the fuck do they record? Again, I'm sure there's all kinds of tutorials and stuff on that, but it's amazing how there's no other sound whatsoever in those videos except the instrument. There's no wind, there's no people, there's nothing. How the fuck do they get all of that pure like guitar sound with no ambient sound? That's what I want to learn how to do, because you have people that are sitting on a rock on fucking Hawaii jamming and shit, and I'm like, I've been to Hawaii, it's windy as fuck and it's noisy as shit. Noise canceling, yeah, there's well, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the right equipment, honestly. I mean, that's probably it. Like with many things, I mean, my one wish before I die would be to play, not own, on a Steinway, because they're like the most amazing fucking piano on the planet, just to see what it's all about. I mean, you hear them online, they're pretty awesome. So gear makes a difference, equipment makes a difference for sure. Post-production editing. Yeah, there's some recent stuff I've heard about on YouTube recently about how, again, super new. I thought everything on Instagram was real. I thought all the YouTube shorts were real. And then come to find out that people do, like, they don't, it's not live. It's not live at all. Like, it's mimed. I didn't know what the fuck miming was until like a month ago. Like, yeah, they're miming over. So they're in front of a camera pretending to play, apparently. And then I went down that rabbit hole a little farther, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. So all the people, and then so I started paying attention. Then people will speed it up, and you can totally tell how people's hands and bodies don't move if you start paying attention to it. I never in a million years would have figured that out. But it kind of, I don't know, it wasn't defeating, but I was like, wait a sec. So that's not really you playing at that very moment in time. Yeah, it's kind of fake. It's kind of crazy. Didn't realize that was a thing. Let's see. For your home setup, a good start is a Shure SM57 for your cab. Good to know. And a noise canceling mic for your vocals. Most people use an amp sim for guitar streaming though. Okay, that makes sense. Because, I mean, they're making fucking badass, either it's vintage sounds, hardcore metal sounds, like their shit sounds fucking amazing. And I'm like, there's no big stuff around you. How is that happening? And yeah, the fake guitar thing, that's just wild as fuck. Just wild to me. But it is what it is, I guess. I guess that's like the thing. But editing has its, I think it has its pluses and minuses. But maybe I'm too old that I think that authentic playing, whether you got some fucking mistakes in there or not, is, I don't know, that's authentic. Not to keep repeating it, but I don't know. I think it makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that, because it's defeating. When you watch some of that stuff, I'm like, there is no fucking way. Like, why am I doing this at 50 years old? There's no, is that what the pool of guitarists is these days? And then you're like, oh, fuck, okay. So that's just itty bitty pieces of like 10 different takes of the same riff put together in a, okay, I feel a little better about that. Need to take off and get some things. Rock on, man. Hey, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'll probably have shutting this down real soon. I appreciate all you guys for hanging out. I'll probably do another one next weekend. Get some different sound and shit organized. And fuck yeah, man. And thanks for all the input and the chat. It's been fucking awesome, man. So rock on, guys. I'll play a little bit and then fuck around a little bit and then peace out. All right, fellas. I suppose we've been at this for about a little over an hour. I will shut this down. And again, thank you all for hanging out. And I will figure out what more to do on streams and kind of keep figuring out this as we go along. Thanks for the input on the audio and all the just the feedback and whatnot. So, yeah, guys, I will be signing off here shortly, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. For sure. Always, man. Thanks for being here, man. Rock it out. Cool. Take care, guys.